Changing minds one thought at a time.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Changing Minds Online Empowering Women series. How are you doing today, Jessica?
I am doing awesome. I'm so excited for tonight's call. You know, this is a topic that I do not know much about, but I know can really help take up even our business to the next level. So I am going to be taking copious notes, and I am so excited, to get started. How about you? How you doing?
Well, I love social media and online presence and all that good stuff. So, I am super, super, super excited. And I am just over the moon about our guest tonight. She is the founder of Partnering in Success. Look, I'm very Southern today, apparently. And also a member of the Women's Speaker Association executive team. And without further ado, I would love to introduce everyone to Tracy Eman. How are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, it is definitely an honor. I have been a faithful member for over a year now of the Speaker Chat that you're the co-host of. And, I can't say nothing but wonderful things about you, and I know that the audience is going to really love the tips that you're going to give about Twitter Chat.
Oh, I can't wait to share about Twitter Chat, and I know it's always so fabulous to see you every week on Speaker Chat. It's a great community, and I love that you love it.
Well, yes, thank you. So, you are definitely the online presence, expert. So tell us about the importance of expanding your online presence.
Well, I always like to use sort of that that scenario of the ostrich who sticks his head in the sand as everybody else kind of runs for safety, or in this case, runs to the internet. Social media and online presence is so incredibly important because people are always online now. They're always searching for you. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I meet somebody, I always go and search on Google and see where they show up and check out their social media. How about you guys?
Most definitely. I love, and I'm always on all the platforms. So, yes, that's first thing.
I think it's just really important to be aware of what you're putting out there. I always love the fact that when we actually speak to somebody, that the way that they portray themselves online would be the same as when you got on the phone with them or when you met them face to face. Like I think it's very important to be authentic in all ways of communicating with either your clients or your contacts and all the new friends that you can make.
Yes, that's always definitely important to be authentic. That's where the growth really happens, isn't it? Once you're showing your true authentic self and they realize that you're a person and not just a bot, that's when they want to really interact with you and they want to really make that relationship connection.
Yes, exactly. And what I find is we always hear there's 6 to 10 touches before somebody will do business with you. And business can be, whether they hire you for your services or whether maybe they have a joint venture opportunity or an interview that they'd like you to become a part of. So when you can be very authentic in the way that you connect online, you actually are lessening that amount of touches that need to take place, or you're taking care of them online.
Right. So, that goes into the next question then. So what happens when, you're a business person and, let's say you get a social media manager and, your voice is different than the other person's voice. How do you get that, remedy that?
I think it depends on, each individual, but I find working with my clients is that I really you really have to take the time to listen. You really do have to listen to their voice so that you can help them portray it. I always recommend that if you're going to hire somebody to, do some of your social media management for you, that you have a real good communication skills, because there may be times where you can put things out for them, but a lot of times it's just kind of suggesting ideas and really fine-tuning it so it does sound, it is them. You're doing it on their behalf, but you're doing it as them, not as yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense, yes.
Okay, good.
And I think even Akina, this is something that we can really speak to as well. Like, obviously, Akina and I both run Changing Minds Online, and when we're posting on Facebook and when we're writing our affirmations, or even when we're writing our books, Akina and I have very distinct voices. And, recently I have some friends of mine who purchased our book, our 90-day affirmation journal, and they're reading it, and they were laughing because they're saying, we love both your writing and Akina's writing, but you have a different voice. And I think it's okay to have, that obviously for your social media manager, you want the voice to come through. But there is authenticity, I think, in being who you are. So Akina and I don't try to just come up with some fake entity. We're very real about it. And people know when I'm posting things, and people know when Akina posts things. And, if you look at our Facebook comments even, it's pretty obvious which one of us is writing it, because we do write very differently. I know I tend to sign my name just so people know who I am, or that I'm responding to them, because I like that. But it can be really clear, I think, when we're posting who it is that you're speaking to.
Definitely, and I think especially in a situation with both of you doing your collective social media, I mean, it's perfect. There are two voices that are part of Changing Minds Online, and it is really important for people to hear those voices, because it's always going to be, somebody's always going to have a greater affinity for one or the other, right? There's going to be either, it may not even always be what you're writing or what you're saying, but it can be how you're writing and how you're saying it. And it's not to say that, one is right and one is wrong, but people will gravitate towards one or the other. And it's just, I think that's incredible that you have that opportunity to have, both of you speak out.
Yes, that is definitely what it is. It's nice for us to have the names out there, and then sometimes it's nice for us to just post like as a team. So, but like she says, they definitely can tell who it is.
That's great, though.
Now, of course, we were talking about speaker chat and Twitter chats in general. Now, when I noticed that they're a lot different than like a Google Hangout or something like that. It goes super fast. Mm-hmm. And, like lightning speed, right? And then, of course, now we have different places like Twubs and things like that who are hosting these. So tell us about how you got into Twitter chat.
Well, I got into Twitter chat back, Melanie and I were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was about 3 years ago that we actually started our speaker chat. And we wanted to have an opportunity to feature our members and also provide a learning opportunity. And over the years, we still get is there going to be an audio recording of this? But there's not. We really have concentrated this particular speaker chat on Twitter. And as you mentioned, we're currently using Twubs as our platform because we find that it's actually, once you get used to it, it's actually really easy to use. But yes, things move so exceptionally fast. We're basically sharing an hour worth of information in the 140 characters or less, but the interaction is phenomenal. The opportunity to learn from experts is really out of this world. And, we have some surprise visitors that end up showing up and being pulled into the conversation too. So it's a really unique type of atmosphere, and one that I really get excited about when we're, interacting with everybody. And I think it's something that's just incredibly important, is to have a chat out there. So kind of going overall to Twitter chats, to have a chat out there, a hashtags with your chat name, where people can follow, because there's so much information. So to sort of wean out the information, kind of cut through the noise and find the information that's relevant to you, you can be searching. So when you have a Twitter chat, everybody has a hashtag. It could be, a hashtag changing minds, right? And when you are doing your tweet chat, then people can search for hashtag changing minds, and they'll be able to see everything that's taken place. So it's really great as far as getting information out there around SEO as well, because it pulls people's information back in.
Exactly. I mean, you were mentioning the special guest. I remember one time, I do believe we were talking about social media. I think it was Instagram. And one of my, Twitter followers saw the post where, because, I always put in all our questions and answers into each week on my feed. And she just jumped right on in, and she started asking her questions too and putting in her little feedback. And next thing I know, she's joining WSA. I said, okay. So then I think it's one. I said, definitely wonderful. Because like you said earlier before the show, you don't know what you don't know. And if Twitter can inform people in 140 characters, why not, right?
Exactly. And to make the most out of it, like if you're a host, as I'm a co-host, there's definitely behind the scenes, steps that you could take so that it makes it easier on your guest and just on yourself when everything's moving so quickly. It's really great to have all the background structure in place. From everything from, asking questions before and getting the responses broken down prior to posting them on Twitter. Because one of the things that is really important to remember with Twitter is we do a lot of retweeting during our speaker chat. And when you retweet, you end up with extra characters in there. And sometimes those extra characters, like you're retweeting somebody's Twitter handle, and you want to do that, but you could end up shortening the actual answer, and the answer might not actually have the same meaning anymore when you start to shorten it. So we always like to work with our guests so that they're shortened ahead of the time, so that it doesn't end up sort of being skewed a little bit.
Exactly, because it's so many nuggets that you want to give, but you only have this 140 characters, so sometimes one nugget could be about 4 different posts. But, as long as the learning is there. Now, I know as a Twitter chatter myself, when you use platforms like Twub, you can actually slow it down for your needs. Is that not correct?
That is correct. There is something called a feed speed, and there's from slow to medium to fast to super fast. You can actually even go back and scroll back through past comments as well. So there's that ability to keep things under control. And I always recommend that the first time you jump onto a chat is to slow that feed down. Or you'll be chasing a post that you want to retweet, and every time you go to hit it, it actually kind of has moved about 5 or 6 positions down the line, right?
Exactly. I mean, I mentioned that because, a lot of the audience may be scared because, oh, no, it moves so fast, because Twitter moves so fast, just naturally. But when you're using those platforms, you can slow it down so you can be involved as well. So yes. Now,
that's right.
now I know that you use Twitter chat to expand your online presence. So can you give us a few ways that the Twitter chats can expand your presence, like getting new followers and things of that nature?
Well, that's exactly one of them, is getting new followers. But a lot of it, you don't. It's not all about getting new followers. It's about getting more interaction, because what, there's a couple of things. So one is, by sharing information on a Twitter chat and using a hashtag that other industry experts will notice, your information is going to begin to show up on their feeds, because a lot of people will use a program like, say, Hootsuite, and they will have it, they'll be searching for certain target words. So if they are searching for your hashtags or a topic that you're talking on, you're going to start to show up in that separate little feed. And they're going to go, hey, wow, I didn't know about that. I want to follow her, right? So it just allows people to kind of see what you're about, and allows them to interact. So you really do, you want to grow your presence, which I've done. Like when we started this, I probably had maybe 200 followers on Twitter. Now, I'm not growing at lightning speed, but I'm over 5,000 followers, but they're 5,000 followers that I interact with very regularly. So that actually is one thing to look at, is that when people react to you and you engage and you respond, then that also affects your online influence. So we always like to say, Speaker Chat will help you grow your Clout Score. You've heard of Clout Score before?
Oh yes. I think I'm at a 74 right now.
Wow, so that's fabulous. But I know that you are very good at interacting online. I mean, you've got it nailed down, so it's perfect. But a lot of people, initially there's so many things going on, they can't really keep at any one thing. So, having something like a Twitter chat that's quite regular. I mean, it doesn't have to be every week. It could be once a month, or it could be, but just enough so people actually start to become aware of it, then people will begin to follow you. And as people start to follow you and interact, you are going to grow your Clout Score as well. I mean, that online influence is very important.
Now, since we're on Clout, let's stay there for a minute. Now it's not just your Twitter, but it's all your social media, correct?
That's correct. Well, almost all your social media. So if you have they'll get you to choose between sort of a Facebook page and a Facebook profile. You can have your LinkedIn in there. I know they have Twitter attached to it, and then they keep adding a couple more and testing different things out. But yes, it's not just Twitter, but it's interesting because for my Clout, because I interact more consistently on Twitter, and then of course our WSA Facebook group, but that actually doesn't get pulled in at all. So it is important. Once again, online presence, right? So it's how you show up online everywhere.
Perfect. Yeah, that is very important, because, the higher your Clout Score, it lets them know, okay, this person is going to interact with you. They're going to give you some good content. They're going to probably think, along the lines of you, their stuff is going to be current. If someone has like a 19, they're either starting or they haven't been on there in a long time.
Exactly.
So you can tell by the number, if they're really into it or not. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, it is. It is safe to say, and you can almost call it sort of your online resume in a way, because there are cases where somebody that is an author and wants to get a book out there, publishers will look and see what their Clout Score is like, because a lot of the advertising that used to be done, whether it be print or radio or whatever it may be, a lot more of it is being done based on how big of a reach you have on social media. So when they're looking at whether maybe they want to publish that particular author or, invite somebody to speak at their event or whatever it might be, they're going to see what kind of online influence they have, because that is very important these days.
Right. I mean, so that is going to be, so you recommend, well, I guess we both recommend, right, that everybody has signs up for Clout.com, right, so that they know where they stand on their social media.
Exactly.
Presence.
Yeah, I think it's if nothing else, it's an interesting measurement of what you're doing online and how it is affecting things. And you can see, like, if I'm not on for a while, I mean, it will have some dips, and that's the way it is. But social media is really, I really always call it sort of a pay it forward type of system, right? So, if you find great information that your contacts would be interested in, then you want to share it out. You want to be the go-to person in that particular niche. So you don't necessarily have to know everything. You just need to know where to find it out, and people will come to you because they don't want to do that. They don't want to be spending that time trying to research and find something that they can go and talk to you and get that response really quickly.
Yes. Now what do you recommend, like, when you're doing your Twitter chat? Where could someone find a listing for Twitter chat, or is there a listing?
There are actually quite a few listings, but I'm going to have to go search on the internet to find them. If you just type in Twitter chats in Google, you're going to get a list there as well.
So would you recommend that they actually put if they are starting a Twitter chat, put their Twitter chats on some of these listings to get more people to attend?
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. And what will happen is people, because you have a chat on it. So, for instance, whatever you're doing, you might want to call it. So we're going to use Changing Minds again. It could just be CM chat. Okay, and what will happen is they're always scouring Twitter looking for anything with a hashtag, asterisk chat. And they will pull those in. So you can actually, if you go on Twubs, you can see the different chats that are coming up, and you can, there's a number of different listings out there. So I'm just looking at this. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, when you're doing, I loved what you just said. So when you put the search in, you put hashtag asterisk chat, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that way, it'll pull up anything that has chat with it, right?
Exactly. Or it should anyway.
Okay, perfect. So now, you've mentioned hashtags. What is the power of the hashtag for a Twitter chat?
Wow, the power of the hashtags is, for social media in general, I think is exceptional. Really, what it allows people to do is it allows people to follow your hashtags. It allows you to put search terms. And so if you were, let me try that again. If you were a social media expert, then hashtag social media you would want to use on some of the posts that you share out there. It makes it very easy for people to search. The search engines like Google definitely are looking for hashtags. So, one of the things that you want to do is when you're talking about an upcoming guest, or if you're talking about whatever their topic might be, you want to pull in things like, when we're talking about Women's Speakers Association, we talk about hashtags collaborate, and of course our hashtag speaker chat. But basically what you want to do is find hashtags that resonate with you and your audience. So for our Women Speakers Association, a lot of times we'll, put in speaking or speakers or our women speakers. And hashtags are in everything. They're in your social network profiles. They can be used in blog posts. They can be used in signatures. They can be used in newsletters. They're everywhere because people are starting to realize that they're important and they're linkable. So that's the other thing. When you click on it and it's linkable, and that allows other things to show up that are relevant to that topic.
Yes, Changing Minds Online has a hashtag. We're hashtag COM Online Show. So, for Changing Minds Online Show. And also, anybody who clicks on that will see all of our posts, because everything that I do on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, I make sure that that's there so that anytime somebody looks for our tag, they'll get all of our posts. Kind of like a hashtag hub, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's important. Like I said, everything's moving so quickly, especially on Twitter, that there's going to be certain things that are really going to speak to you, and I'm sure there's certain ones that you follow along all the time too, because you don't want to miss out on that information, or you want to be able to go back and read through it afterwards. So, hashtags are incredibly important that way, and I know that some people overuse them. So, sometimes you'll look at it and go, wow, there's too many hashtags there. What are they trying to do? But if you keep, sort of 1 to 3 hashtags per post that make sense, then people are going to be able to find the content that they need. And you never know, it could be, your next best friend or your next business partner or whatever.
Awesome. I agree. Now, we're getting close to the hour, so I want to make sure that you get to speak about the things that you're doing in online presence right now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'm on every Tuesday. We are on Speaker Chat, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we take that opportunity to teach our membership all about the topics that they're looking for. So speakers are looking for how to get seen, how to get booked, how to get paid, how to use the different social media platforms, how to put some pizzazz into your blog. How we had a great guest last week, or just earlier this week actually, talking about how important it is to write. We do a lot of verbalization when we're speaking, but you need to actually get it onto paper first. So there's a lot of information. I completely invite people to come join us on Tuesdays and look at the hashtag Speaker Chat. Otherwise, I'm always online. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm in the Facebook group for our Women Speakers Association, and you'll find me on Twitter, where I'm doing a lot of sharing of social media and email marketing and online presence type posts.
Okay, so what is your email or your handle?
My handle on Twitter is Partner in Biz. So if you're searching it, you can, and if you're searching it, you can also look for Tracy Eman, so Tracy with an EY, and then Eman, EHMAN. So either way, you'll be able to find me on Twitter.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Tracy, for being on the show today. We've learned a lot of different tips about social media. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I was able to provide some insight.
Thank you so much for being on our call. I just want to
you.
thank you, Tracy, for being on our call. I was sitting quietly, which is something I don't do often on our shows, but like I said in the beginning, this is not my area of strong suit, but I was taking really great notes, and I am excited to start using Twitter. So it's something I haven't actually used before, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's fabulous. I'm excited to connect with you, Jessica, online. So
absolutely,
definitely reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Tina will talk me through figuring out how to add you.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much again, and thank you for everyone who called in.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Well, if anything you that Tracy said today resonated with you, you can find the show on ChangeYourMindsOnline.com. You can also find us on iTunes and Blog Talk Radio, and of course YouTube. Thank you so much for being on the call today. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you again on the Sunday night inspirational call. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.